which was the black empire. 85 or 95% blue black Negroes, not no white Arab. He didn't have no knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So now, if he's talking in a quatrain in the future, his thing is based on the future, because he was taught by the Moors. If he's saying in the last days that the kingdom and the fair is going to rise, and some of the fools here, they see it. I've seen some of the translated, they say, well, he's talking about the Moorish Empire over 700 years ago. Wait a minute. That already happened. This man said that the kingdom of the fair will rise in the last days. So what is the kingdom of the fair? We know that the only people calling themselves Moors today is the black people in North America. So when he sensed this, he was talking about us. You see what I'm saying? When he said the kingdom of the fair. There's a book out called Nostradamus 1999. Now it's very key you get that book, Nostradamus 1999. Because his whole premises is that there's this great king of terror that's going to come based on this Hale-Bopp comet that came in 1997. He said we will reach the tail end of that comet in the spring of 1999, which will be ushered in based on a great king of terror. You see? But he also says, but he goes into specifically based on the kingdom of the fairs. But in the book, by him not being a historical person or by him being an occultist that know what time it is, they got to write for some other shit, he's writing for the white people and telling them and telling us that there's some Arabs over there. He's telling them, they're all thinking it's the Arabs in the Middle East. You see what I'm saying? But it says, but 1999, 7 months from the sky, will become a great king of terror who will reestablish the great kings of the Mongols. You see, the great kings of the Mongols. The Mongols, the original Mongolians, were black people. They didn't start in China. It started in Tibet. And the blue black man in Tibet, Hitler, and them took 7 years to wipe them out. That's what 7 years in Tibet was about. After they wiped them out, killed off the blue black man, then they called in the Chinese to do the rest, to finish off the job after they took over after the fucking Nazis. To kill off the blue black man. So the original Mongolians he's talking about as black people, even if he said original Asians, those were black people. But we know there ain't no blue black people nowhere on the planet that's capable of rising up but us. You see what I'm saying? Based on technology and civilization. That's one of the pluses about this. So when Minister Rock, people got mad when he said, well, what happened when this Y2K thing go down? They said, well, people talking about running to Africa. He said the best place to be is in America. He was right. The best place to be is up under the devil. Not isolate your ass in Africa. Africa fucked up. See what I'm saying? We can't live without a refrigerator. How the hell are we going to live in Africa with all them flies and shit? The Africans can live in Africa. I'm not telling you now about solidarity, but we're dealing with prophecy now. And the prophecy said that out of Egypt I will call my son. There will be a group of people in the West. The Son of Man is supposed to rise up in the West. That's why when Charles Manson had the vision, they told him, they just used him as a vehicle. Since his name was Manson, it meant son of man. Not that he was the son of man. He's a cracker, a redneck. But the name carried a certain energy that was bestowed upon him because it's a Moorish name. So therefore they used him as a certain amount of energy. You know, a certain amount of energy. Well, you know what? I got my whole canteen. You can take those back. I got my whole canteen right here. So this is what you got to do. Go to Target, get you one of these. You can either get them in a leather case, because you're going to need a lot of water. For the type of space vampires, you go to Target. They sell these for $8. It's got a thing on it. You need the kind of water that you travel with. And it's got a case in it. And you put this in here, not only that, it's got one of these ice packs to put in the freezer. Get you one of these from Target. You can get it's $8 for this one, or $14 for the leather case. But this is the shit you need now. You need a canteen. For what you got to deal with right now, your energy gonna come from water. When I get into the science and all. So, and it's interesting, a blind brother gave me this when I went to Indianapolis. And my sister got one a week later. So I'm saying this is what you need right here. So anyway, he said that the empire will be changed to black nations. Then he says, the last days of the United States will not save them by sea. He can't go overseas and fight no more. It says between two bloody rivers, he will feel a black military hand. Now, the rivers are talking about what? He's speaking in code. He's talking about Atlantic and Pacific. You see what I'm saying? So, this white brothers write the book Nostradamus 1999. You see what I'm saying? They're gearing up now. Now, the key is on the Y2K thing is this. Number one, most of the companies going to be Y2K compatible. They're already doing that shit now. That's no problem with that. Now, the other thing is, let's just say just for, because I never put nothing past the crowd now. Now, I won't say what he won't do, because he's already done it too many times. You know what I'm saying? So, smaller groups and smaller clusters is not compatible. He can use this as a form of do whatever hell he's going to do. But I'm going to tell you the straight up truth. Like I told you before, based on the Sanskrit information on the Kundalini, that to a people who have the Kundalini energy, you cannot threaten them with open violence. You can threaten them with open violence when the cycle is not of a Kundalini manifestation or a Kundalini enhancing cycle. But since 1985-86, the Kundalini enhancing cycle is what we've been about. That's why they had to exterminate a lot of us. So therefore, now the cycle is right. So he can't come up and threaten you. He can't threaten you with open violence right up in your face no more, because there's some energy inside of you based on the Sanskrit and based on what the government of India said, that based on the information that they did with some research before they ran out of money in the 70s, is that the devices that's in the bodies that will come online if they threaten you openly. So what the government policy is he has to literally come out and kick you off behind your back. Subliminal suggestion, as well as killing you off on a genocide that you don't know about. You just go to the hospital one day and don't come back. Or there's thousands of ways to kill you. I ain't talking about what he can do. The key is to openly announce the day of battle would be his death. Now, with the Y2K shit, maybe he knows, let's say hypothetically, he's serious about going ahead with it. See what I'm saying? And doing what he has to do. Please understand that the only reason why he is going to be forced to even come out and do that or go against that which he knows is doggone treacherous to his own ass and deadly to his own behind, you see, is because he's forced to do it. And if he's forced to do it, fuck it, let's get it on. If we got the damn power to do it, but we talking about a spiritual power, and most people are thinking of the whole Y2K thing based on physical shit. Remember, whatever the deal is, the only people that survive in a society that's used to living off the spoils of other nations is a people that's used to not having. And I don't give a damn how much you done had in your lifetime, you still used to not have it. We can adapt in a matter of days. You think I'm lying? Once they cut off their lights, come them candles. You see what I'm saying? So, either way you're talking about, it's inevitable the throwdown has got to come. So if he want to just do it, remember the energy is on our side for the simple fact we are the actual energy. We are, even the Bible said that our God is what? A consuming fire. That consuming fire is the Kundalini energy that the people was talking about these devices coming online. Now, only reason why he would even do some bogus stuff by even forcing some rule on us or some stuff that's out of the comfort zone is because he knows it's got to the point where as it's go for what the hell you know. Either way, he's going to lose this battle. And it's not about how many numbers we have. You understand what I'm saying? Ultimately, we all got to share the physical body anyway. So it don't matter how many people we get killed, that's not the point. Half these niggas need to go any fucking way. juice too long and something to jump off, for him to literally say, I'm ready to do something. I go, no, no, no. I want more time. The time is now, and the future is always here, and never in the future, because there's no such thing as the future, because there's no such thing as space and time. So let's go on. All right. So the draconians that they're talking about, the things that they're showing, all of these movies is coming out with general enemies that are so-called alien enemies is us. Because they've identified the enemy, and it is us. You see what I'm saying? That's the way it is. Now, let's deal with some things right now I want to deal with right now also. Because I want to get through a couple of notes and stuff right there. This is paramount for the video. In the 1960s, 70s, and the 80s, the projects began breeding black people for melanin of the future government and kept them isolated from the Americans, isolated like animals, so that they can later on go and enslave. So literally, the projects was breeding camps for all of this melanin that they are putting in all these health products. And so Clinton had to sign the welfare bill in 1995 because they had to deal with all this particular melanin products and all this. Another reason why they got to produce a whole group of melanin is because they understand this particular thing. They understand that these entities that is in us, this particular energy that's coming back to kill them, they feel that they can get enough melanin in their body for some kind of way that they can lessen the blow. This is real deal shit I'm talking about they're dealing with here and all. They're dealing with when I get into some stuff also too, and I'm gonna show you some movies. It's gonna bear witness to some stuff I told you last year in a few minutes. So let me go on. The movie Prophecy, the angel Gabriel tries to create his own heaven or his own universe by finding the darkest soul. What does he mean by that? He's not talking about evil, even though they showed the little army man and all. He was talking about melanin. He was talking about finding that ancient black particle. That ancient black particle of the original man. That's what he was talking about here. Now, moving right along on what we're dealing with here, because we're going to go closer and closer into this whole vampire thing, you got to go pick up the movie Dust Devil. The movie Dust Devil, the original vampire, and was not a blood drinker. He was a soul stealer. He was a soul stealer trying to break the incarnation by stealing the seeds of light. Now, what this particular entity in the movie Dust Devil was trying to do was, he understands that the cycle of incarnation back over and over and over on the planet is a perpetual bondage. And it's real bad. Chip only talks about it in that stuff when you deal with stuff on life. He talks about how you can have knowledge one life, you get snatched up and go up here and you reincarnate and come back and lose all your knowledge. It might take another 1,000 years for you to get some sense back. So this is a perpetual jailhouse that is actually going on. And so what the particular Dust Devil was doing was literally trying to break the cycle of incarnation by stealing seeds of light. Stealing seeds of light. And as I go on, this becomes clear on what we're talking about here too. Man is supposed to outgrow his existence. Now, this is a statement that is coming from old ancient Sanskrit and other ancient Sufi teachings, that man is supposed to outgrow his existence, which also bears witness again. This is another thing that I found in the text, which the Spirit told me back in 94, when people always ask this question, well, if we were so great, how the hell did we fall? And I kept saying, no, we didn't fall. They have done that for a couple of million years. Now it's time to go to a new plateau, so we must die, give it to a younger people, and these people can keep the world and they can tear it up and do what they want to do while we are in hibernation. That's why they only gave it to them at the last form of the cycle. That means that based on slavery and based on other things, he's been ruling. But you got to understand, between the Moors was kicked out of Spain in 1492, the same year that Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You see, the Moors ruled Spain for 700 years. Between 1492 and the 20th century, white people was at war with each other. So they didn't get shit together. You get where I'm coming from? They only became a power to take over the world. They didn't even take over Africa till the late 1800s. Africa was too big. You see what I'm saying? So when you think about it, they only been ruling a maximum strength as far as a world domination somewhere a little over 120 years. Or let's say a good 100 years. That's nothing compared to, even if we take conservative measurements of Egypt alone, and we lasted 3,000 years, and they don't have no kind of civilization on earth that lasted over 200 to 300 years of the white European nations. You see what I'm saying? So even the conservative estimates, we lasted 3,000 years, we've outdone everything else. But even if we go to pre-dynastic, we're talking about 10,000 years, you see, and we ain't talking about West Africa. And then if you go beyond that, they say when a whole bunch of gods used to rule, which is this book, the Titans, is talking about, the time before we fell into the physical, we was always on the earth. Yeah, Adam and Eve just picks up when the first physical man was created. We was on the earth long before then. So we was ruling literally, and that we was ruling for literally billions of years. So the white man's rule is only a short period of time, but then again, if you've been ruling for billions of years and you go into hibernation, you didn't fall. It deteriorated. You just went to sleep. You see what I'm saying? But man is supposed to outdo his existence, which means that in actuality, we had done that for 1,000,000 years on the human thing. The next phase is to go metamorphosize and go back to the God realm. It's just that we got hit in the head the last 300 years, and we trying to be human again and be like white people who follow with us, who could never be gods, and doing a bad job at being human, because they can't copy us on that level with civilized barbarism. You see what I'm saying? So either way you put the shit, we win it. You see what I'm saying? But the key is that we're supposed to outdo our existence. You're talking about another realm. So therefore, the whole thing of revolutionary is futile for the simple fact no cocoon ever went into a goddamn caterpillar to come out and be no caterpillar ever went into a cocoon to be a doggone caterpillar again. So the metamorphosis has to take place, and we all must die on the physical. You see what I'm saying? All must die on the physical. It's just that we're stuck in this perpetual thing of trying to figure out how to live. And most of our conversation is stuck on how to get a certain foothold on humanity again, which we've already done. That's why you know it's impossible, because even if the white man wasn't in the picture, we couldn't get no foothold on no humanity with these niggas out here. Hell, the niggas in this room. You know what I'm saying? Now let's be realistic about it. So we're still talking, but we're still stuck in this perpetual zombie state because we're trying to follow him. And he ain't really got shit. He's reduced down to buying some shit out of a mall that he made. He gonna try to buy some shit he made. We're just buying the stuff that we think is great. It's nothing. You see what I'm saying? Very key. Now let's go on. We were before man, or human, or humanity. So therefore we shouldn't give a shit about humanity. Now I'm talking on another God level. See, what we're dealing with now is we're dealing with God's school. We're not dealing with history no more, and what we used to do, and how we used to feel. We're talking about dealing with, is it written in your law that ye are gods, and the great works that we're supposed to deal with. So that means in actuality, you go back and look at Deacon Frost in the movie Blade. He said, to hell with humanity. You see what I'm saying? So now if you notice, all the movies that's coming out, the white boys making these movies, and he's saying that humanity is at stake. Everything is to save mankind. You see what I'm saying? Everything is to save mankind. You see what I'm saying? But it ain't even, it's not even about that. The world where monsters walk on the wind and prowl cabins beneath the earth's surface were beings not bound by the limits of space and at times used our planet for their playground. Their history, as we know it, proves the myth contrived as a product of our sanity, where humans discover that the pursuit of the unknown are themselves pursued by nameless horror. So what this means is, you keep thinking that the doggone monster is this other being that once used to walk the earth with these giants, and you are those giants. That's the key with this particular book, The Titans, which I got up one day and I said, I'm going to do about 3 pages on this thing. I had a little good thing, and when I got through, it worked with me the whole day, and I said, damn, that done beat me up, and I ended up doing this. But it's actually bigger than this. I just couldn't produce it. It's about a whole book, the complete thing and all, but I did produce it down with the essential form so you can read it. Now, going on. So as a result, what is happening is this. Let me deal with this. The gods of the old cycle, who took us and put us down here, as a result, they know that their time is up. We have to rise. So as a result, what they are actually doing is trying to delay it. And what they're doing is, that's why they put the white boy down here as the decoy. You focusing your energy on him, and you're supposed to be focusing your energy on the unseen forces. And the unseen forces is in actuality by you focusing. Now, how do you defeat them? By focusing your energy, by literally breaking away from the human existence. Now, it's a catch-22 because you're going to have to do it on both ways. On one way, you're going to have to function in the society. But then again, on the other hand, you got to devalue all that is. All that is. Whereas, you feeling it now. You just thinking, you say, I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm getting tired of these people. I'm getting tired of all of it. You just thinking you just need to move to another town. But when you get there, you're going to find more of the same ass on you. You're going to find out there ain't no place you're going to go on planet Earth. You're going to find the same thing. You're going to find some white people don't like you, or you're going to find a whole lot of Negroes that don't like you. But what this is telling you is your soul is not giving you the comfort zone for you to stay on this particular realm. So you got to deal with what is now, and that is to be about the business of, in actuality, destroying humanity. The gods who are to come is ourselves. Now let me go on. Let me go on. Now I'm sweating all over the place. Look. Go back and get the Predator 1 and 2. Now you go back. Now you know that the Predator is the black man with the dreadlocks. We showed that. Predator 2, they showed you he had the spear and the boomerang. Okay? Predator 1, they were showing you that the whole time they had the African drums beating. And even Arnold Schwarzenegger had to put on the mud, which is represents melanin, to even fight him. He didn't kill him. What's his name? Blew his own self up. Go back and look at Predator 1, because you know Predator 2, he just literally gave the gun to Danny Glover and said, I'm one of you. And you got to go back and look at it real close when all the other Predators come out of the actual ship. They are all different types of tribes of Africa. They all had on different dresses, different sizes. And it showed the different tribesmen of Africa. You got to go back and study it. So you know Predator 2 was dropping this stuff. Predator 1, I went back and looked at it again, and I found out one thing. He was killing all these white boys all around the place. At no time did he even want to kill the 2 black men or the Native American. He ended up killing both the 2 black men because the 2 black men, being like we are old company niggas, don't go into the white man's business. They decided they're going to go off, both of them alone, to kill this man when he wasn't fucking with him. Remember now, you got to go and study. He was up in the tree looking at him. He was up in the tree looking at him. Now, no other white people could see it. The only person that could see him, number one, the Native American could sense him. The woman from South America, she could see him. And the two black men, he said, Bill Duke said, there you go, he up in the tree, because he had the third eye, so he could see him. He said, where? Well, he said, right there. And then Carl Weather said, oh yeah, I see him. Remember, the white people couldn't see him. The Native Americans sensed it at first. He said, something wrong, we're all going to die. You got to go back and study this shit. The woman from South Africa, she saw him. She said, damn, the forest took him. She saw him. White people couldn't see shit. First thing he killed was Jesse Bobby Ventura ass. Now, but Bill Duke and them about him having the third eye, they say, he said, I see him, he up in the tree. He said, where? He said, look. He said, oh yeah. Then they decided, by being those Uncle niggas and Uncle Tom Dad niggas, that they gonna kill it for master. So as a result, he said, oh fuck it. Y'all some assholes, I gotta take y'all out. You know what I'm saying? But the African drums was beating the whole time. Then the Native American, they was running to the ship. He had already done wounded Arnold Schwarzenegger and the other white boy or something. He was running to the ship. The Native American gonna turn around. He gonna sell out nigga now. And decide he just gonna sacrifice himself and kill something. When he's supposed to be getting on the damn helicopter. He just turned around and just gave himself up. You see what I'm saying? Now the other woman from South America, she's been down in the woods. She ain't been doggone beat over the head that much, you know. They got their own tropical climate and stuff. So she was like, I'm getting the hell on this ship. I know what time it is. This motherfucker came when we were little children. Remember she said that? You see, but she was not conditioned. You know, Native American and black people are conditioned. You see what I'm saying? White black people. So, but you got to go back and look at the science real clear on what it was dealing with. But now, on the back of the see, I read, when you do research, it's like anything else, you got to read everything between the lines. On the back of the actual Predator 2 box, the video box, they say that this thing is coming to kill is a savage alien. Wait a minute now. Where do we hear this word savage all the time? But you got to understand the play on words. Savage alien. They call it African savage. Then he comes out, you know, he got all the African stuff, you know, the boomerang, the spear, the dreadlocks, and the whole 9 yards. It's very key. When you go back and study that particular stuff on what's actually going down. Now, let me go into some science because we got a lot of stuff to deal with right now. Let me go into some science. When you go and read the book of Enoch, you're going to have to go and get it from Kessinger's Publishing Company. That's the out-of-print publisher, Kessinger. Borders Bookstore can order most of the stuff from Kessinger. The book of Enoch, is the one you want to get is by R.H. Charles. It's the one that deals with the complete story of the fallen angels in that whole 9 yards. Now, first of all, it's interesting because what happened is once we were put down here to do the bidding, and I don't even, and as you know, I'm sorry if you just coming here for the first time and this sounds a little strange, but we got over 100. I got over like 150 videos, and I'm talking about some of the biggest aspect of bibliography you can put on some of these videos. We have the bibliography, so we'll get into that in the question and answer. So we're still dealing with scholarship. This is not the type of thing where you go to something, you hear somebody deal with some ideology, and you can't go and check out the sources yourself. But in the book of Enoch, R.H. Charles' book, it's interesting that when we came down in so many words, what the actual person, or what you call Lucifer, or is Azazel in the book of Enoch, that's where you get the whole thing with Denzel Washington, or a guy by the name of Samaza. He was charged by literally, he became the enemy of God by literally giving man the mystery of alchemy and melanin. That's the book of Enoch. In your Greek mythology, Prometheus steals the fire, which is the same Kundalini fire, but they go in even in Robert Graves' Greek mythology. They talk about they stole the fire stole the fire that was in a charcoal that was in the chariot of Zeus, sun chariot of Zeus. So that charcoal represents melanin. It's right in the book of Robert Graves' book. So what this stuff is all dealing with is alchemy. We were given this particular divine seed of melanin, and as a result, the Godhead turned against us. Now, in so many words, and this is not some hocus pocus. I mean, this is in so many of the ancient. There's a book, The Parallel Mythologies. This particular book here, Parallel Mythologies, by J.F. Berlin. And in so many, David Adams Lehman's books on mythology, Mythology, The Voyage of the Divine Hero. There's so many books, so I don't even have to even document a particular thing like that. But in so many words, they got a group of these particular entities up there. They're old cycle entities, but they don't have what we have. And they are jealous of that. They don't have this particular divine seed, and they are jealous of that. So the whole key is that they put this white boy down here as the doggone decoy. Now, to let you know that it's not like it's some of this boy talking some crazy shit, because we also got the government reports from the guy from out of Chicago by the name of Michael Bell, too. In his book, coming out of this out of print, it says that in actuality, these white boys in D.C. and them be doing all types of rituals to keep these particular entities alive. So we got that particular information. This is some real serious shit that's going down. And I'm going to give you a movie in a few minutes to go deal with some of this stuff, you know. But which leads with the Cain and Abel story, which the Cain and Abel story is also the Osiris and Set story in ancient Egypt. Now I want to give you this particular thing right here on what really went down. In the back of this Titan book, you're going to find out that Cain, in the last chapter called Titans, Man, and Catastrophe and Wisdom, you're going to find out that Cain went off and built a city after he was kicked out of the so-called Garden of Eden. Well, this is the set type of story in ancient Hemmitt and Osiris. Also, it's the Jacob and Esau story in a later day mythology. And you must understand that these are not historical stories as far as the chronology of history as we know, but this is ancient mythology that's told around the world of general principles that happen that they know about. The word mythology comes from the African word mutu, which means sayings of truth. So now, in this particular one, let's deal with the Cain and Abel story, or the Osiris and Set story. In so many words, you know the Cain and Abel story, we'll give you that one. It's the same thing, Osiris. Set Typhon kills Osiris. You know what I'm saying? In the story, get budges, Osiris, gods of the resurrection, you know. Cain kills Abel. Now, what is the science behind this? There was a group of entities that was on the earth before we became physical men. And as we said before, even in your book, Man, God, and Universe, by Rudolf Steiner, which will be mentioned on the first page of this particular book, The Titans, Man, God, and Universe, in that particular book, Rudolf Steiner, and he goes and explains that. Now, Rudolf Steiner is taking his particular information from Moorish manuscripts that has been preserved by the Rosicrucians in Germany. So this is real deal science, where he says that before we had the physical earth, we had a spiritual earth, and as you know, I've said this time before, the physical earth was dim. We could barely see the physical earth. But as the vibratory rate fell, and we became more encased in the physical body, the spiritual earth became dim and disappeared, and the physical earth became visible. Well, Adam and Eve represent the first manifestation of those particular physical entities. You see what I'm saying? Or it's also Isis and Osiris. Set is one that's a little bit older, if you go back and rework the mythology to try to understand this thing. Now, in so many words, what happened was this. Cain, or Set, which even in the biblical myth and the Osirian drama is older than Osiris. Osiris is the younger brother. Set being around and being older, or Cain being older, he remembered a time when we used to be gods. And he hated the fact that all of our divine energy was being shut down and being encased in bondage in a physical body. You see what I'm saying? In a physical body. Meanwhile, be like outside of the body. You talk about in the Bible, Cain never knew death. Abel never knew death, and then he brought death into the world. You understand what I'm saying? So in so many words, if you go and study the mythology, by Cain or Seth being older, he was trying to show his brother another side of the universe. And he was cast out by this particular ruler that at that particular time, he done created him a little bit of boy toys and then put some ancient spirits inside of them and then going crazy. You see what I'm saying? There's a whole chapter in that in this book. God's Angels and Demons of the New Millennium. Excellent book. The back chapter, Demons Are Our Friends. God, Angels, and Demons of the New Millennium by Lon Milo Duquette. Lon Milo Duquette. Excellent chapter in there. This motherfucker that's dealing with this stuff ain't no little crackpot like no Helen Gate. This motherfucker's a big time occultist. That means that they are studying our ancient scriptures. This cat is no joke. So we're not dealing with no fools out here. No fools out here. So in so many words, let me read this. Seth or Cain was the first and was not physical. Osiris and Abel was the second and was physical. Seth and Cain rebelled against the physical entrapment of his brother's soul. By killing his brother, he freed his soul of Osiris that was trapped by Ra, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, or Jehovah. Now, some people say, man, you talking shit about Ra, but remember I told you there's a book called The Everyday Life of the Egyptian Gods by Meeks. I think that's the last name. It's two people that I know. One of them is Meeks. I should have brought it. But in that book, they're taking these particular texts coming from the coffin texts, which are older than the pyramid texts. And then there's a whole other story of Ra being this tyrannical ruler. You see what I'm saying? Or it also says in the Gnostic scripture that Yahweh, Jehovah, or whoever wants to keep man in bondage and restrict him to the physical laws. But along comes the serpent who loves the brother, different mythology over and over, it wants to free him up. So he become one as the gods again. Okay, one of the gods again. So now, that's the particular story based on this Abel thing. When you go back and rework the mythology, when you start dealing with this particular stuff with other parallel mythologies, and that's what you're going to have to do. You're not going to be able to put the pieces of the story together by one system. It has to be several parallel mythologies. You say, well, I ain't got that much time to read them books. It's bullshit. You see what I'm saying? We do it every morning. You use the energy, and you can learn every damn basketball player. Like my friend, I got a homeboy, say he know every player that ever played for the University of North Carolina since 1968. 31 years. You know that nigga told me one time in 93. He said that if the mothership comes, I'll get on it as long as they got ACC basketball. I'll get on as long as they got ACC basketball. Now, let me get into this particular Dracula thing right now so you can understand what's actually going on. It's right before your eyes. And this is the mystery that is solved. First of all, you got to get out of the regular mythology on what this thing is. Even Bram Stoker, when he came up with the word, he said, they said, how did you get this word, Dracula? He said, I dreamed it. Whenever they dream something, that's when it's coming from the real deal shit. Whenever they just write some stuff out, when they find it, they just make it up with shadow builders. You got another movie called Mummy Out. He's on video now. You got Louis Gossett playing a pharaoh in the movie, or doing some Egyptian stuff. Anyway, you'll find out this guy was among a number of occult societies, Masonic societies, so he knew exactly what he was dealing with this stuff. But anyway, Dracula is not simple, physical. Now, I knew something was going on because the brother that I'm going to have to come down here, the brother that's dealing with some alchemical works by Karanja. Like I said, this brother is good. He's good. He's going to, I got a tape where he opened up for me in New York, and he probably will, we're we're going to have a conference soon together, but we're going to try to get him down in Atlanta, and the brother is good. But anyway, he was surfing on the internet, and he found out that they was calling melanin the Dracula particle. And he was like, that's kind of interesting, but he put two and two together, and this is what the deal is, or what this thing is. Dracula, if you take away the mythology and what they're literally talking about and what these white people are all trying to get, is this. Dracula is different than vampires. Dracula is the master. That's the ancient black man. That's why he wears black. That's why on the inside of his cape is red. Remember I showed you the black and the red? That's the base of the kundalini and the black dot. What does Dracula do? If you take away the physical aspect and try to understand what's going on, at night, when Dracula is supposed to rise, what does melanin do? Melanin starts rising at night. It goes into the central nervous system. You see what I'm saying? It goes throughout the body. It literally heals the body at night, provided your stuff is on hooked up, you know what I'm saying? That which makes it immortal. At night, it goes to sleep. Now, in the Jeremiah's ancient Egypt line of the world, as well as what even Thomas Jefferson realized, that one thing about black people, they are nocturnal beings. And he said to myself, we work as slaves from sun up to sundown, and he'll stay up all night partying. We used to do that shit in slavery. Partying, knowing that he got to get up the next morning and do the same thing. But what they didn't realize is we were nocturnal people. Now the old saying, even in the movie, the caption even in the movie, The Lost Boys. Party all night, sleep all day. Now what the fuck is that for a damn nigga? Providing your ass didn't go to work. So you got to cut through the mythology and try to find out what they're talking about here on why there's so many things like that. You see. Number one, if you get from the bite, you'll understand that each time the vampire bites somebody, they turn into a vampire, you know. But each time you screw somebody, that person is no longer whatever that race is. The melanin, one drop of black blood, you black. You get where I'm coming from here? You see the mythology in this particular thing here? One drop of black blood, you black. You see. But it's also at night when it comes out, and that's when you do all your stuff. Now remember I told you that's the reason why they had to go in and they had to stop all these nightclubs. Because this energy, this nocturnal energy was killing them. And that's why in no city, nightclubs didn't last for so long until the government came in and shut them down. But now if you notice they've gotten rid of most nightlife, you see what I'm saying? And you just chill it. Even in the daytime, they say smooth jazz. Now that's not in Atlanta. That's every place in the country. They get rid of the regular jazz, and now they're talking about smooth jazz. See what I'm saying? The other thing is, all over the country, there's white talk radio talking shit about black people. But yet they're getting rid of talk radio all over the country with black people. This is the only place where you can have talk radio, and that shit is damn near gone. This is the last holdout, but they made sure 1999 they get rid of talk radio amongst black people in Atlanta. And then they say what? More music, less talk. See what I'm saying? More music, less talk. You see. So, Dracula is not physical, it simply means melanin. Dracula particle that awakes at night and sucks the blood of the physical body, and humans live forever because you wouldn't live forever, provided that your physical body didn't break down by other means, either diet or either based on some type of physical injury. You see what I'm saying? As the undead, when it goes to sleep in the daytime, that is the coffin or the sarcophagus of the mummy body. That's the body that you actually live in. Once a white body is bitten, or i.e. has sex with a black person, it becomes black too. You see the whole thing here? They say Nosferatu Nosferatu means plague carrier, and they was calling Eddie Murphy Nosferatu. And we must kill off the Nosferatu. You get where I'm coming from here? Now, it becomes black. All the kindred having black melanin, the Dracula particle, carried by the body. Now, let me go into some stuff right now. Bear with me. I want to go into some stuff right now to show you something. Number one, in the movie you're going to see Blade, he called him Hominus Nocturnus. Now, when you go and you study these particular things, when you study the origin of this vampire thing, you're going to find out that it goes back to an entity called Lilith. And Lilith is nothing but the great mother. But even in the book, the Hebrew goddess, so now we are getting off of just some, that nigga up there just giving you fairy tales. See, there you go. See? Somebody out there now said that nigga there is giving niggas fairy tales and he's just reaching for shit. Well, here it is. This is the advanced. This is the advanced Hebrew scholar, Raphael Patti. This is his book, The Hebrew Goddess by Raphael Patti, P-A-T-I. And which is an authority on the subject of all rabbinic lore, as well as he wrote a book called the Messiah Text, which is all this ancient shit they got of the black Hebrew before these white Hebrews came. And they got all these particular texts that are called the Messiah Text by this same guy. And also in that book, it's interesting because in the Messiah text, there's an old passage that says the Messiah will come when there's no longer a need for one. Well, damn sure that's right now, because shit, we done got our ass whipped from Kingdom Come, so I guess it's time we can come. Now, listen. When dealing with the god Lilith, when dealing with the god Lilith, he goes on, and in so many words, and this is what the whole thing is based off of, he said in Babylonia, the great mother was also called originally, she was a vampire demon. So here it is, he's talking about the same vampire demon, Lilith, that's in this particular book, and this is not dealing with some stuff that somebody just made up. This is dealing with Hebrew texts based on the ancient scriptures that they got from ancient black people, probably got it from all over the world, but mainly a lot of stuff out of Spain, and he put this particular thing, the Hebrew goddess, together in this particular book. Now, I want to read something to you here. And then I'm going to break this thing down in two aspects and show you. I'm going to get to the vampire thing, then I'm going to go into what they're really scared of, in a few minutes. In two aspects, the Enochian thing and this Egyptian thing in a few minutes. So y'all bear with me 1 minute. Now, Lilith, in Anne Rice's books, Anne Rice, so you didn't know that motherfucker worked for the government. Big time shit. And she got about, 10 vampire novels? They made a movie out of her first one, Interview with the Vampire. And she got several ones and all. But you don't realize she works. Oh, let me show you how serious this thing is. She works with the government. Now look at this. I want to show you something here. Here's a guy by the name of Martin V. Ricardo. In the Chicago area is a behavioral hypnotist and the director of vampire studies and information at the Center of Vampire Fans that founded in 1977. You said that's just some crazy shit. Well, if it's some crazy shit, what it says, he has been quoted in the Wall Street Journal and the USA Today. Wall Street Journal is the white man top shit. See what I'm saying? So this is some real stuff we're dealing with here. Now, in Anne Rice's book, Lilith becomes the god Akasha. Now, I want to read this to you. Where does Akasha come from? And then you can start trying to understand this, because I'm going to go and I'm going to give you a name right after this and show you something. Akasha is the ancient Egyptian queen who became the first of all, look at that, ancient Egyptian queen who became the first vampire. She is part of the vampire couple known as the legend of those who must be kept. Now, her name, first of all, the word Akasha means melanin. Akasha means black substance, or Sidakash means the substance of the black eye, or it means black. You get the word Akashic records, which means the records of melanin. So why the hell would the queen, this Lilith, which means night demon, be named melanin? You see, this stuff, when you break it, get it out of the mythology, it starts breaking down into some ancient powers. Now, I'm going to trace this thing in a few minutes to give you the real apex of what's really going on here. Akasha, an ancient Egyptian queen. First of all, she's from Egypt, just like Eddie Murphy was. He told you that evil was good in the movie. Now, what does he mean by that? Let me stop right here for the people that don't understand what's going on. Because I want to clarify this, because I don't want to come out here seeming like the almighty devil, and y'all be burning crosses in front of my house and shit. What does he mean by this? It's like the guy that wrote the book, The Dark God, the white boy, said, you can go and kill everybody around the world and call yourself a Christian soldier. And they'll build a school after your name. As soon as you say something about Satan, you got 100,000 niggas and helicopters all around your house and shit. But yet you can kill everybody under the name of religion and do more evil shit. Now, first of all, what do we mean by it? You will find out that what they call Leviathan, Satan, Lucifer, or the dragon, or all that particular stuff is that which is called the turtleback, or the accursor, or what they call the old serpent, ever trying to break into creation and destroy creation. Well, creation is about 1 billion years old and it's all used up. So now we are on the other end of the cycle of creation. So that which at one time was opposite of creation is now the only thing that's left. You see what I'm saying? So we're dealing with science here on another advanced level. So now we are on the other side of creation. We done been here billions and billions and billions of years. You understand what I'm saying? So now the only thing that is left is the great old serpent, the dragon. You see what I'm saying? You see, so the dragon is the only Christ figure there is. So now you have the dragon is Dracon, which is Satan, which is the ass deity. That's why Jesus finds the kingdom and rides into Jerusalem on what? An ass. That's the power. That's what we're talking about here. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. Hold on. Well, I'm going to give you the Bible verse. I'm going to give you the Bible verse. Hold on 1 minute. Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. Matthew chapter 21, verse 5. Y'all all right? Oh, yeah. Rejoice, great the old daughter of Zion. The gates of Zion is in your head. That's the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus gland. The pearly gates is in your head. That's the brain. That's the 3 glands in your head is the 3 pyramids in the Giza Plateau, the 3 crosses on Calvary, the 3 spears in the Kabbalah, the 3 stars in Orion's belt, Jubilee, Jubilee, Jubileum, the 3 wise men, and all that shit is in your head, which is the gates of Zion. So rejoice, O daughters of Zion. Shout, O daughters of Jerusalem. Behold, the King cometh unto thee, and he is just in having salvation. The King of salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt, the fowl of the ass. The other one, tell ye daughters of Zion, behold, the King is coming unto thee, meek as us. Are we the wretched? And sitting upon an ass, and a colt, the fowl of an ass. So the Christ comes into the end cycle, the cycle of destruction. So the old serpent is the cycle of destruction. Akasha means black substance, the Akashic records. Now, so it's interesting that the first queen of the vampires in Anne Rice's books is Akasha. Now listen, Akasha is an ancient Egyptian queen who became the first vampire. She is a part of a vampire couple known as the legend as those who must be kept. Her name is inspired by a place named Rice, a place named Rice, seen in a map of the ancient lost cities of Africa. That's where she got Akasha from. So before it was Akasha named after melanin in Sanskrit, they got it from a lost city in Africa. Now this is what it says. Becoming a queen, her marriage, she was a mortal Akasha. Her husband was King ATL. And it says, and what she did is she used a lot of things by turning people away from cannibalism, which means not cannibalism in the thing of eating people, but eating meat. Because the next thing is by eating grains. And because if you go and study Isis, that's what she did. She brought the mysteries of vegetation and wheat to Africa. Now, it says, all these things, Akasha, it says, disregard the belief of other demons and everywhere to practice. I'm trying to get to the point where, because I'm going to show you something right here. In so many words, I'm going to show you this particular part right here. I'm going to get to the meat of this particular shit on what happened here. So-and-so, and how she was turned into an actual vampire. In so many words, because I got it in my head anyway. In so many words, she was turned into an actual vampire by a person by the name of Amel. Now, what happened is Amel, now they get a name, Amel. See how they drop it? Because I know this motherfucker is working for somebody because she got all the terminology right. Now, the first thing it says here is this, and I want to get right to the particular point on what happened here, on what happened here, on how she was turned into this particular vampire. Y'all bear with me 1 minute. So-and-so, here it is. Okay, she got into this particular, I think it was a certain argument or a disagreement with these two twins. As a result, she attacked these particular two twins. And as a result, these two twins called on an entity by the name of Amel. Amel avenging the twins, avenging these particular twins. In so many words, Amel got into her blood system. And as a result of her getting into his particular blood system, he made it so that in actuality, he turned her into this particular vampire where she could not die. She could not die in actuality based on this substance, which is actually melanin. You see what I'm saying? She became immortal, but in actuality, they said that she would have to drink this blood or whatever the deal is because it killed the physical body. Now, let me explain what this particular blood is. In here, we don't necessarily need blood to live. That's what the Europeans need to suck off of us and always touching you, your enemy. But what we do need is this. We need water. That's the blood that they're talking about. Now let me explain what's going on here. In this particular Titan book, you're going to find out on the first, after you go from Titans and stars a little, you're going to find out at the beginning of things they got a guy by the name of Okanos, or Kinos. Anyway, in so many words, he's this particular cosmic water. But this water, or this particular substance, it's got dark matter, plus it's got this water. In the beginning, there's a particular water. And it's all mixed together, something like an oil. And this is the beginning of the primordial waters. It's something like when you see with the damn Stargate, you see that water, but a better representation of it when you go get the movie, what's the one with the arc in the sky, the artificial black hole, Event Horizon. You're going to see this black, when that shit open up, you're going to see this black oil-like substance. In so many words, when we fell, the water was separated from the carbon substances in us, which is melanin. So as a result, to get back to the original creation that is before this creation, is you got to put water in there to mix back with this melanin, and that is the substance that you will see on X-Files. This oil-like liquid substance. That is the substance you will see in Phantoms. You see what I'm saying? It's just that instead of we having to walk the earth for blood, our blood is water. fast foods in the black community and all the chicken with the MSG in it. But dehydration through the water itself with that fucking fluoride and chlorine and all that shit in the damn sink water. That most black people, poor black people, go to the sink and get some damn water. This was the new shit where we go and buy our water. You know what I'm saying? So that's the dehydration.